Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Jonin Sensei, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. As Hinata passed out in Naruto's arms, one thought crossed his mind. Damn it. Hinata, he said. Hinata, wake up. As he tried to shake her awake. Hinata started to stir and Naruto smiled down on her. As she opened her eyes and the first thing she saw was his smiling face, she remembered what happened to make her faint. And Naruto-kun said that there was something about me that he loved. Are you okay? He asked. I was worried as you just got out of the hospital, maybe I said things too quickly. No, she said, I am happy that you decided to trust me that much. Good, as I wasn't quite done, he said, there is still more that I wanted to tell you. What's that? Well, he paused a bit uncomfortable, I wanted to tell you that I do like you are a great friend and a wonderful person. Anyone who can accept me for this in my eyes is a good person, but that's not the point. He paused as she got a little flusher. I know you know. I've known for a while now that you like me. She blushed and thought to herself, oh God, don't faint, he knows for a while. How long? She managed to stutter out. He smiled, so it's true, he thought, I think I had my first suspicions of it at the Chunin exams, the final round. When you said just what I needed to hear and helped me get my confidence back, I knew that you were special. I knew that you were a nice caring person already, but why would you need to say that to me? But it did help to clarify things from when you emulated me during the preliminaries. I had never heard anyone use my words for themselves, truth be told I liked that. She continued to get red, but he kept talking. After the Chunin exams I intended to talk to you about it to get to know you, but then there was the whole attack and the third's death that drove that right out. He sighed. Then Sasuke left the village, and after the failed mission to bring him back, I was told by Jiraiya that he would be taking me away for 2.5 years to train, and that was another reason why I couldn't talk to you about it. Why start anything if the next day it had to end? That wouldn't be fair to you. She listened intently as he kept going, wondering to herself, if he knew all this time, then why now? He continued, before I left I thought that I would catch up with you after I came back and we could talk about things. But during my trip I learned a great deal from him. I learned how to maintain his informant contacts and obtaining useful information. I learned also from that useful info that the group that was after people like me, the demon container, would not stop until either they or myself were S. There were a lot of fights ahead of me and I refused to drag you into that. He stopped for a bit and looked up at the sky. You know, there is something else I have told no one about. When I came back, do you remember how seemingly disappointed I was about the fact that I was the only one from our graduation class that was not promoted to Chunin? She nodded and he continued, I wasn't that upset on it. I realized that I was gone for almost 2 years. It's not like I expected time to stand still until I came back, plus I was not the only one, you know. There was still Sasuke that was not promoted. He said with a grin. No, what happened was that when I came back, Tsunade asked Jiraiya if in his opinion I was ready to be promoted to that level, and I think he said something like, Chunin. Yeah, he's ready for that. Hell, the kid's low level Jonin at least. She then asked me to her office, and based on his recommendation she offered to name me Chunin right there. I declined. Hinata got her voice back. Why did you decline, Naruto-kun? He smiled at her. Because I have worked for everything I have done. I was not and still am not used to handouts. Ever since Sarutobi put the idea in my head that I should be a shinobi, I wanted his hat, you know. He chuckled, but I worked at it, everything I have, I earned, and I was damned if anyone said that I was given that but pity or favoritism from the Hokage. Hell, sometimes I wish that I had kept a secret the fact that my father was the fourth. Hinata was even more impressed at what he said and brought back with that last part. What do you mean? When I become Hokage, will it be because of my father or will it be because I earned it? I can't stand the thought of people saying that I was only named it because of who my father was and not because I worked at it. Hell, that's why I am keeping my name and not taking my father's name. I want people to know that I, Uzumaki Naruto, became Hokage despite the hardships I had to face. So, he went on, I wanted you to know that I do like you, and even though it has taken me a long time to admit it, I would like to take you out sometime, and I hope that you could give this stupid, dense kid a chance. Hinata couldn't talk but thinking furiously, damn it, don't faint, don't faint. Oh my god, he likes me, thinks I'm a nice caring person. He doesn't see me as the shy weird girl that I always seem to be around him. Focusing all of her willpower not to faint again, she nodded. High-end Naruto Keikun IW would love to go out with YYU sometime. Great, he said, but there is something that I wanted to give you. Reaching into his weapons pouch, he pulled out a three-pronged kunai and held it out to her. This is, she started. Yes, this is the kunai that allows me to perform that jutsu. He said, when I was told who my father was, I was given a package with a letter from him and also all of his notes from when he was creating the seal needed for the technique. I have been able to recreate the technique in seal, but he also left me a dozen of his original kunai. This is one of those 12, he said, motioning to the one he just gave to Hinata. I want you to have this, and if you ever need me, please, I know that you can take care of yourself, but if you do need me at any time, channel some chakra into the kunai and throw it into the ground and I will be there. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Not at all, Hinata-chan, he said, smiling widely. Well, I think that I should probably get you home then, right? That's not needed, Naruto-kun. I can get myself home. Well, he started, I have to talk with your father anyway, so truth be told, I was headed there anyway. He finished scratching the back of his N. Oh, what about? Well, since I am a Jonin sensei, our cousin Hannah was placed on my team, and I assume that he wants to talk about her training. I see, she said. Well then, shall we get going then? Sure. And getting up, he offered her his hand and helped her up, and the two set off in the direction of the Hyuga compound. He looked over at her and said, by the way, thank you, Hinata-chan. For what, Naruto-kun? Blushing as he was calling her, Hinata-chan. Thank you for understanding. I always kind of thought that you would, but was scared that it could have gone another way. So thank you. He finished as they approached the compound, and suddenly realizing that he was still holding her hand, something that Hinata could not have overlooked, he squeezed it gently and embraced her in a hug. The result was instant. She turned a deep red and came close to fainting again, but managed to master herself. Naruto, noticing her state, quickly spluttered, Sorry, Hinata-chan, I'm sure that I overstepped, sorry. No, it's okay, Naruto-kun, don't mind at all, she managed to squeak out. They had reached the gates of the compound, and the two guards bowed to her as she entered. Hinata-sama, good day to you, one said. The other spoke up, Uzumaki-san, Lord Hiyashi has been expecting you in his private study. Thank you, Hinata said to them, I can show him up to father's study. Very well, said the first, good day to you both. They got up to the main house where Hinata showed him to the study, and on entering, Naruto noticed it was not just himself and Hiyashi in there. Also in the room was Hana. Hiyashi-sama, Naruto said, bowing to the man at the desk, I believe that you requested an audience with me. Smiling a bit before he bent up, thinking that at least he learned more than techniques from Jiraiya while gone, but also proper etiquette, as he realized that would be expected of him when he became the Rokudaime. After, of course, the shock that Jiraiya even knew anything about manners. Yes, I did want to speak with you on a couple of things, he said, and looked over at Hana, the first being Hana's training. She is to continue her Juken studies and Byakugan training, and as you are not trained in that, I will be setting up a tutor to join you during certain training so that she can keep up with that. That is of course acceptable, Naruto said, so long as this tutor does not completely undermine my training with them. Of course. Well, that being said, Hana, would you please leave so that I can speak in private to Uzumaki-san? Yes, Hiyashi-sama, she said, bowing, and added, I'll see you later then, sensei. With that she left, leaving the two alone. Hiyashi spoke up, well, the other thing I wanted to speak to you about was your intentions. Intentions, Hiyashi-sama? What do you mean? He paused and then said, your intentions with Hinata. I saw the two of you coming here together and also holding hands, no less. Sir, I can explain, Naruto started. Can you? He asked, can you explain why you seem to be interested in the heir of the Hyuga clan? He said dryly. Well, he started, truth be told, I am interested. She is a kind, loving person and a very good friend of mine. I see, said Hiyashi, turning from Naruto so that the Jonin could not see the slight smile on his face. How poetic. Sir, Hiashi turned again and Naruto saw that he was smiling and was shocked to see that the man actually knew how to do so. I said that it was poetic that the two of you would find each other in this way. You see, what is not known to either of you is that before Hinata was born she was given in an arranged marriage to the son of the fourth Hokage who was also unborn at the time. What? Naruto asked in shock. Hiashi continued, now since your parents and you were orphaned the arrangement was nullified and it is not expected of you to follow through on this, but I simply thought that it was poetic that you two seemed to like each other. I know that my late wife would have found this to be very romantic. He finished smiling. Naruto was in shock. He was to be married to her. But he was just told that he would not be held to it. But in thinking about it might not be that bad. I do like her, she does accept me for who and what I am. But I am happy that I am not being forced into this. I think that I would reject that on principle if it were that. And he said to Hiashi, I see, well, thank you for being honest, but I do not know where this will go, only time will tell that, I'm afraid. Good day, Hiashi-sama. With that he bowed himself out of the study. As Naruto walked out he saw Hinata and deciding then it crystallized in his mind, I will give her the best chance that I can, she deserves that. He walked up to her and said, Hi Hinata, I was thinking about when I asked you if you wanted to go out sometime. Yes. Okay, well, how does tomorrow night sound? Hi, I'd like that, Naruto-kun, she said, and no stutter. Good, well, I'll pick you up at 8, is that okay? Hi. Naruto smiled widely, okay then, I'll see you then, bye Hinata-chan. He left at that, leaving her red and close to fainting. Naruto walked down the street happy at this turn of events, but still thinking into it he decided that maybe it would be best to get some flowers or something and maybe some advice on this, as he had never gone on a date before. He found himself in front of the flower shop that Ino's parents owned and walked inside. Welcome to, Ino started to say then, oh, it's just you, Naruto. Hey Ino, is that any way to talk to your future Hokage? Naruto said with a look of mock anger on his face. Whatever. What can I help you with? Well, I think I might need some flowers, maybe some roses, he said, and added kind of nervous, and some advice on dating. She looked at him curious and then her face darkened. Well, two things. First, I am not interested, I'm not that into blondes, and second, roses are not really the type of flower that would win me over, especially bought from me. That is too unoriginal. Said one of the only other stupid blondes in the village, Naruto muttered. What was that? She snapped. Nothing at all, Ino. Besides, the roses are not for you. Okay, well, then who are they for and what advice do you need? She asked. Now that the jokes were over she could tell that he was being serious. Naruto mumbled something that she did not quite catch. I'm sorry, she said sweetly, what was that? I'm taking Hinata out tomorrow, okay? Oh my god, Ino said, huh, well it's about damn time, don't you think? Yeah, he said, so will you help me out? Sure I will, she said smiling, but you have to do as I say, okay? Okay. Good, no then, first things first, the roses, I'd say go with a mixed bouquet. She thought a moment, I'm pretty sure her favorite are lilies, so those should be prominent. But at any rate I will figure that out, I can't expect you to know how to set up a good arrangement. Naruto just stood there and said nothing, just nodding, as he figured if anyone knew about the flowers, it would be Ino. Ino continued, now tell me, what were you thinking as for the date, any plans? Plans? He questioned, confused. Yeah, plans, you moron. If I can say something, I think that she would be happy really doing anything, but that doesn't mean that you should not try, okay? Okay, so what, like dinner, a movie maybe? Yes, that could work, but remember, for dinner take her to a real place. If I find that you dragged her to that ramen stand I will skin you alive, okay? She said as sweetly as someone you just uttered a death threat can be sweet. Naruto gulped, visibly, okay then where? She thought for a moment, well, good rule of thumb for you is that, if they have ramen they're not the place for the dinner. She thought again, someplace semi-casual, as it is good to be comfortable but not overly so. Naruto spoke up, I think I know of a place, there is the place that Team 7 used to go to every now and then, it's called, Blue Dragon. Is that place okay? Yeah, actually that place is perfect, she said. Now after dinner you are going to a movie, right? Any ideas as to what? Nope, not really, he said, I've been wanting to see that new Princess Gale movie. Actually that sounds good too, she said surprised, what do you really need me for? It sounds like you have things figured out. Well, that takes care of the dinner and movie and flowers. Now what about wardrobe? What do you mean? He asked. Well, you can't go in the ninja gear that you have on. I mean, you must have some other clothes to wear. She said. Yeah, I guess, he said. I guess I can wear a pair of dark pants. I have a nice button-down shirt, and my long coat. Ino knew of that coat. Naruto had a coat made that resembled his father's almost perfectly, with the exception of its saying yellow flash on its back. It was labeled as second flash. The coat was white that hung down to his ankles, and the trim was laced in a red-out off-orange flame design. It was not a practical coat for missions, but when around the village it was more than acceptable. That would work too, Ino said. Also make sure that it is clean, and on your way home stop by the restaurant and make a reservation, for about an hour and a half from when you pick her up, okay? Can't hurt to make sure, and on the way there stop by here to pick up the flowers. I will be here and they will be ready for you. What time are you getting her? 8 o'clock. Okay, well, I'll have them ready at 7:30. Stop by then so that we can go over a couple other things. Got it? Yes, ma'am, he muttered. By the way, Ino, thanks for this. I appreciate it. Not a problem, Naruto, she said. At least you had sense enough to ask for some help. Well, see you tomorrow. Naruto had gotten home and began to think of the possible ways that he could implement training regimens into his 3 students. Thinking to himself, all 3 of them could use weight training, Ankiko Maita and Hyuga Hana more so than Inuzuka Kemonoi. Kemonoi is powerful physically but has poor chakra control. If he is to gain better use of his clan's abilities, then he needs the chakra control necessary to focus to his nose. I might start him off in tree walking with some weighted cloths and equipment to further increase his speed and strength. His was going to take the 3 to be outfitted with new gear with easily discarded weights, nothing to the extreme that Rock Lee would use, but enough that it would take a bit of training to get used to it. The Hyuga is graceful in battle, but that is to be expected, and her chakra control, while not up to the standards that the clan sets for itself, is still nothing to scoff at. He thought, still, the tutor that Hiashi will send I'm sure will be able to help with that, but I will also set a training to improve her stamina and power. The weights used in conjunction with her Juken training will undoubtedly do just that. He sighed as he wrote out the training plans on the separate scrolls that he would give to the genin to which they corresponded. Maita, however, is simple for me to try on, he thought. He has excellent chakra control already and his power is definitely in his genjutsu, but his fighting style, while very promising, lacks but the grace of the Hyuga and the power of the Inuzuka. He will most benefit from the sparring and the weight training. He will have to also begin training for straighten his form. Naruto finished the scrolls and packed them for tomorrow. He then went out to the training grounds to find Sasuke. Once in view of the grounds, he found no one there and began some light training of his own to add another aspect to his Rasengan. While on a diplomatic mission with Tsunade, he went to the hidden sand village so that Tsunade could meet with the Kazekage Gaara. Naruto went as a means of bodyguard for his Hokage. Not that she needed it, but the village elders feel it prudent that she be guarded. Naruto also began to feel that if he was to be Hokage after her, then would he have to deal with this crap too? I suppose it comes with the job, he thought, and put that from his mind until he has to deal with it when the time comes. But while he was in the village, he sought out the Kazekage's older brother, Kankuro. He had this idea recently and needed to spec with a puppet user to see if he could learn the basics of the chakra stings that they use. The idea being to apply this sting to his Rasengan and give it range. After all, the technique was very limited in range and could only go where the user goes. Another advantage to this possibility was the use of his Odama Rasengan, the technique he gets when applying wind energy to the spinning orb. It is a technique that he had worked so hard on and finally perfected only to have it declared an S-class forbidden jutsu. He only used it in absolute no alternative situations, as the technique, when used, caused his body harm as well. The time that he used it had made his arm useless for over a week, which is a big problem, especially considering the Cubus healing. If anyone else uses this ability, then they would likely never regain use of the arm to which it was attached. So if he could apply the principles of the puppet stings to his Rasengan and extend the distance it can be from him, he could focus wind energy down the string and use that technique without loss of use of his arm, even for a little while. So Kankuro had given a small simple puppet for Naruto to practice with. He had managed to create the strings after some study of the process to it, but was not able to make the small, yet intricate, puppet do much of anything. And Naruto was determined to move the puppet well enough before he even attempted something like using it in the Rasengan, or moving elemental energy down the strings. Sasuke approached while Naruto was still trying to get the puppet to move. Still trying to work that one out, huh? Yeah, Naruto said, it is much harder than it looks, but it will be worth it when I can use that wind-enhanced Rasengan at will. He smiled at his friend while putting the little puppet away. So you ready for some training? I swore that I would get you into your best before you took the Jonin exam, which if I'm not mistaken is about another month away. Even I don't want you to get too far behind me. Naruto smirked. Don't get so full of yourself, dope. The reason our sparring help out so much is because of the speed you have when using that technique. If I can keep up with that, then I should have no problem outmaneuvering the opponents I am likely to face in the exams. You know, team, that has got to be one of the most backhanded compliments you're even given me. Naruto smiled. The blonde then reached into his special holster and pulled out 14 tri-pronged kunai. What do you say, Sasuke? If you can catch me off guard and knock me out of my technique when I am using 2 more from last time, then I can add more kunai and giving you a harder target. You ready? Came the only response. Naruto flung the 14 kunai in every direction and disappeared in a flash of black and gold. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and watched the blonde zipping from one to another to fast to track by normal eye. Sasuke was only just able to keep up. Trying to discern a pattern proved tricky, as well as Naruto was all over the place. There was no telling where he would jump next as he randomly threw those kunai. Sasuke had trouble getting in Naruto's way and knocking him out of it. Sasuke kept looking until he thought he saw an opening, and going for his resulted in 3 rapid-fire shots to his stomach, back and head. All 3 shots felt as though they stuck at the exact same time. Naruto stopped to taunt him. Don't tell me that is all you have, team, and continued with the technique. This was their routine. Sasuke would get faster and faster and eventually after several sessions managed to knock the blonde idiot out of it, and Naruto would add more kunai to the next training, adding to the possibilities to where he could jump. Sasuke would then have to move faster to get him out of that before he got pummeled, but the punches Naruto would send his way. At the end of the sparring, the two sat on the middle of the grounds panting. Naruto from the use of that technique and Sasuke from getting hit so many times and still being unable to catch his friend. You know, Naruto, Sasuke said, stretching out his sore muscles, I am beginning to suspect that you enjoy this way too much. What gave that away? He asked, grinning. Was it the fact that I am finally able to help you get stronger, or the fact that I get to kick your ass while doing it? Well, when I am done with the exams, then this little intense training can end and we can get back to simply sparring as per normal, Sasuke panted. What and ruin all this fun I'm having? Naruto said, grinning. Yeah, said Sasuke. So I hear that you are taking Hinata out tomorrow night, is that true? He finished changing the subject. How the hell did you know that? Asked Naruto. Sasuke stared at him for a moment, disbelieving. Are you serious? I know the same way the entire village knows. Because for some reason you, being the idiot that you are, asked Ino of all people for advice. I should have figured that would happen, he said. Now all you have to worry about is what Hashi will do to you when he sees you, Sasuke smirked. I'm not worried about that. Why not? Naruto looked around, making sure that there was truly no one around. Because he approves of it, he sighed. I'm going to let you know something that he told me today. When I told him of this, luckily I did not tell Ino of this. Hinata and I were set to be betrothed before we were even born. If Sasuke was surprised, he certainly hid it well. He simply said, fitting. How's that? Asked Naruto. Well, at the time you were going to be the honored son of the Yondermine Hokage, it is fitting that you would be betrothed to the heiress of the most prestigious clan in the village, don't you think? Sasuke said. Yeah, I guess I can see what you mean, but I am not the son of a Hokage. I did not grow up that way. True, he is my biological father, but I never knew him. Naruto said sadly, I think that I would have accepted it more readily if I did grow up that way, but I am a street urchin, an orphan. I will never understand the workings of a clan like the Hyuga. Yeah, but if you did, you wouldn't be you. Said Sasuke, you wouldn't have had to overcome what you did and gain the strength that you did, and never giving up you might not have caught her attention. That's true, said Naruto. Oh, and by the way, for some reason I felt it necessary to tell Hinata about the demon sealed in me. Really? He asked, and how did she take that? Naruto smiled as he stood up to leave. Guess I mean she is going out with me tomorrow. Good luck with that, dope. Sasuke smirked. The next morning Naruto woke to give his team a new training regimen and later that night take Hinata out for what he hoped would be a great night. As he was walking to the training grounds, a tall man riding atop a beast of a dog called out to him. "Hey Naruto, I need to talk to you." "Hey Kiba, what's up?" asked the blonde, smiling. "Well, I got a couple things to say," replied Kiba. "First, congrats on being named a Jonin Sensei. Hopefully my idiot cousin, Kemonoi, does not give you too much trouble." "Thanks, but I think that I can handle a troublemaker. After all, I know all the tricks, right?" Naruto joked. "Yeah, that's true, but the second thing I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that I heard that you were going out with Hinata tonight. Is that true?" He asked, his smile fading a bit. "Yeah, I am. Is that a problem, dog boy?" "Not really, she really likes you and as long as she is happy I have no complaints." He sighed. "That being said, I was on a team with her for a while and I have come to see her in a way that few do. She has become like a sister to me, and if I hear that you hurt her in any way I will hunt you down, L you apart and feed you to Akamaru here," he said, motioning to the big dog as the dog boomed a bark in agreement. "Well, I don't have to worry then," he said, smiling. "For two reasons, the first being that I would never hurt any of my friends in any way intentionally." "Well, that's good, and the second?" Naruto smirked. "The second being that if you think that you would ever be able to do that to me, then you are sadly mistaken. I am not the weak little Jonin that you still lost to in the Chunin exams 7 years ago. You know I have gotten stronger too." Kiba replied. "I'm not saying that you didn't, but you still have a bit of work to do before you can keep up with this future Hokage." Naruto said, "But it does make me happy that you would worry about her, not that she can't handle herself." "Now Naruto, I never said that," said Kiba. "I know that she can, but just saying, you know, good luck and be good, alright," he finished as he rode away. "Yeah, talk to you later, Kiba." The rest of the day had passed quickly as Naruto went over his training setup with his team. He also met the Juken instructor that Hiashi had sent to talk to Naruto so that the two could go over the training they both had set for Hana and make sure that neither one would interfere with the other. Before Naruto knew it, it was 6 in the evening and he headed home to shower and get ready for the night. He left the apartment and made for Ino's flower shop. As he entered he was greeted by Ino happily. "Hey Barker, well you do look nice," she said, commenting on the outfit that he had told her about. "Thanks," he said and then continued, "So you got the flowers ready?" "Yep," as she pulled out a bouquet of mostly lilies and a few lavender flowers. "All set. Looks good. I knew I could count on you, Ino," he said as he paid for the flowers. "But I gotta also ask, why am I such an idiot?" "What's that mean?" she asked. "I can't believe that I didn't know that telling you would also mean the rest of the village would know the moment I left the shop." He laughed. "I mean seriously, do you girls have a messaging system set up or what? If that is the case, then maybe we could implement that into our work with tactical messages instead of gossip." As he ran out of the shop before she could strike, he made his way to the Hyuga compound, and when he got there Hiashi answered the door. "Uzumaki, please enter." "Thank you, Hiashi-sama," he replied. "Hinata will be down in a moment." "Thanks," he said and waited. A few moments later Hinata walked into the foyer and it took all of Naruto willpower, and reminding himself that his father was also in the room, to keep from staring and letting his jaw drop to the floor. "Hi Hinata," he stumbled as she blushed. "Wow, you look fantastic." Hinata was dressing in an elegant kimono with a lavender floral pattern that matched her eyes perfectly. Her hair was up and she had only a light layer of makeup, as not much was needed and she always seemed to have a constant blush anyway. Naruto gave her the flowers and asked, "Are you ready?" "Why yes Naruto-kun, thank you." She placed the flowers on the table in the foyer and Naruto offered his arm, which she hesitantly took, not wanting to faint. The night was a blur for Hinata, unfortunately passed far too quickly, but happily she did not faint. First they went to the Blue Dragon. She did not even notice much of what they ate as Naruto talked excitedly about missions and his new team. The movie was another thing. Naruto had put his arm around her shoulder as soon as the theater went dark. She knew that she would have to spend most of her time there, willing herself not to pass out, and therefore caught almost none of the movie. The night was finished walking through the park and stargazing when she began to get tired and Naruto seemed to be steeling himself for something. As he noticed that she was tired he walked her home, and before they got to her door she spoke again. "Thank you Naruto-kun, I had a wonderful time tonight." So did I, Hinata-chan. He looked a bit nervous. I'd love to do it again sometime. I'd like that too. They had reached the door and stood there a moment just staring at each other when Naruto sheepishly scratched the back of his N and Hinata twiddled with her fingers a bit. Naruto started to move closer and Hinata thought, is this really happening? Please let this not be a dream. She closed her eyes as he leaned a bit closer and she started to lean toward him, and after what seemed an eternity, after what seemed like 10 years of waiting, their lips met. At that point the door to the mansion opened and Hiyashi stood there silently. The two broke apart and Naruto looked nervous again. Hiyashi simply nodded, his face neutral as he waved Hinata in, and Naruto said, "Bye Hinata, I'll see you later, okay?" She just nodded and, face completely red, walked past her father and into the house. Hiyashi just stood there and looked at the Jonin. After a long moment smiled a bit and said, "Well Naruto, I think that you should probably get home, don't you?" "Hi Hiyashi-sama," he bowed and said, "Until next time then, good evening." That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.